Hey, Light and Life kids, welcome back. So I have a question for you. Do you ever get mad? I get mad. Sometimes I get really mad. And when we get mad, sometimes we do things that we shouldn't do, right? Sometimes my hands don't do very nice things when I'm mad. Sometimes I might get mad and throw something, or I will raise my voice and say things that are not nice to other people. Have you ever been upset and done something you weren't supposed to? Maybe you're mad and you decided, you know what, I'm not going to listen to what somebody told me to do. And then there are consequences for not listening, and it only makes you more mad. Well, today's story is about when Jesus got mad. So this is after he entered Jerusalem. Remember the palm branches, they laid him down for him. He entered as a king. Now, he went out of Jerusalem that night and he was coming back. And in Mark 11, here's a story of when Jesus got mad. On reaching Jerusalem, Jesus entered the temple courts. The temple was like their church, and there were different layers of the temple. If you guys remember in the Old Testament, we've talked about before how there were different parts of the temple, kind of like the patio and then the sanctuary, right? So there was kind of like an outer court and an inner court. Well, when he entered the temple courts, he began driving out those who were buying and selling there. So he began driving people out. What does that mean? He was telling them to get out of there. So they were buying and selling stuff in the church, and he was telling them to get out. It's interesting. He overturned the tables of the money changers and the benches of those selling doves. He toppled over their tables. He threw them over. He overturned their tables and their benches. And what were they doing? They were money changers and they were selling doves. Interesting. And he would not allow anyone to carry merchandise through the temple courts. That's interesting. What was he so mad about? And as he taught them, he said, "Isn't it written, 'My house will be a house of prayer for all nations'?" Now let's pause right there. What house is he talking about? This is God's house, the church, right? The temple. God was saying, the temple is my house, and my house should be a place for prayer, a place where people come to talk to me, for all people. And Jesus said, "But you have made it a den of robbers." Whoa, a den of robbers. Robbers are people who steal. So what was going on here? Well, there were people buying and selling, there were money changers, and there were those selling doves, and he didn't want anyone carrying merchandise through. So what if you came to church one day, and instead of the usual worship, you hear the sermon, you get communion, you play on the playground afterwards, instead of the usual service, and you had to come and they didn't let you enter in and say, before you go in to worship God, you need to bring him something. And you probably don't have it on you, so you can buy it here. And you know, when you go to Disneyland or any other amusement park, I don't know if you know how expensive the food can be, but your parents know. And they know that you're already here, so you're gonna get the stuff we're selling, so we can make it more expensive than it needs to be. So say you came to church and you knew that you were supposed to bring, let's say, your Bible, okay? Before you go in to worship God, you've got to bring your Bible. You forgot your Bible? Don't worry, we'll sell you a Bible. Oh, how much is it? Well, let's see, it's normally $10 at the store, but you are already here without a Bible, so $20. $20 for a $10 Bible? That seems like not okay, right? They were overcharging people, and they were having people come, oh, just come to the temple. You don't have to actually get anything ready, because they were supposed to be bringing animals that had no blemish to give as a sacrifice to God. That was part of their worship. When they were saying, don't worry about that, just come and then we'll just sell you stuff. Oh, you came from someplace else? Well, we've got the money changers here. And what that means is you came from another country. We can exchange the money and they'll exchange the money there for you. They might take a little extra since, you're already here and you're kind of in this predicament where you need us, so we can charge you more. And that's basically overall what was happening there, is they were robbing the people who came to worship God. And they were saying, oh, don't come prepared, just come and buy it here. It's okay. But then they were overcharging them. And so Jesus walked in and he knew all this was happening. And he was so frustrated. So he drove them out, he chased them out. He overturned their tables and he wouldn't let anyone walk through with merchandise. Is that okay? Is it okay to be mad and to do stuff like that? Well, he's Jesus and we know Jesus never sinned, so it mustn't be a sin for him to do that. So when is it okay to be mad? Well, God gave us emotions, and it's actually always okay for us to feel things. It's okay for you to feel happy, sad, mad, and all the things in between. There are many different emotions that God gave us, and the emotions themselves are not bad. We're allowed to feel things. But what we do when we feel upset is important. It's important what we do because we can choose to still honor God and to do what's right, or we can choose to sin when we're upset. And that's where we need to have a clear mind. And we have to remember, Jesus, he did the right thing because he was upset because this was God's house. And he didn't hurt anybody. Nobody was hurt in this incident. It didn't say he cast down fire and brimstone on anybody. But he did, probably mess up their merchandise, and some of the birds probably got free. And it was because they were doing the wrong thing, and he wanted to put a stop to it. And so we have to think carefully when we're upset. I can't tell you in every single situation when you're mad if something that you're thinking about doing is going to be wrong or not. But if you stop and you pray and you ask God to help you make the right choices when you're upset, I know that he will help lead you and guide you. When you're frustrated, remember to pray and ask God to help you not to sin when you're angry, and to help you to process through the frustration that you feel, so that you can get to a place where you're not being fueled by your frustration, but you're working with your emotions. I know right now there's so many different changes that have happened in the last year that it's easy to get frustrated. And so today, as we remember that Jesus was frustrated, I want you to know that it's okay. But let's remember to be careful when we're frustrated, not to sin, and to do what's right. Okay, that is our next step in Holy Week. The next thing that happened there in Holy Week when Jesus was in Jerusalem, we are walking through Holy Week. We're leading up to Jesus is going to be betrayed. He's going to go to the cross. He's going to die. We're going to talk about all that pretty soon, so stay tuned, and I'll see you next time.